This is In the Loop. I'm Christian Bryant. Folks, this is a show with range, from high dives to doggy paddles, and we're here to tell you the water's just fine. Here's what we're swimming in today, folks. With the Grammys in the books, we've finally ended what has been a very, very messy award season, to say the least. This year, the Golden Globes weren't televised at all because of reports of racism, sexism, and bribery within the Hollywood Foreign Press Association. The Grammy Awards garnered their smallest audience ever, and the Oscars, well, you already know. It wasn't the kind of attention the Academy necessarily wanted. You might have tuned in to watch live, or you might have just seen it all pop off on social media. Most of you are probably in that second group because live televised award shows have been losing viewers for years. To understand what's pushing award shows to the brink of irrelevance, we're gonna take you through another deep dive in Pop Quiz. We can't have a pop quiz without our resident couch potato entertainment expert and ITL bestie, Casey Mendoza. Casey, how's the post-award season recovery going?
Oh, after this, I'm gonna go take a nap.
I know award season, and specifically the Academy Awards, is your most chaotic time of the year as a pop culture reporter. And so I want to flip the script and ask you a question first. If it wasn't your job to watch award shows, would you actually watch them?
So I grew up loving award shows. You know, watching it with friends, seeing all the outfits on the red carpet, arguing over what films or musicians should have won or lost. But I'm not gonna lie, it's not as fun for me as it used to be. And that's true for a lot of film, TV, and music fans. So today's pop quiz question is, are people actually watching award shows anymore? The answers to this question will take us through some new controversial additions to award shows, heated arguments about who deserves to be nominated, and lastly, how streaming and social media have completely disrupted the way we watch TV. Christian, are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's get into it.
Let's start by looking at the numbers. From the 80s to the early 2000s, the Academy Awards were garnering around 40 to 50 million viewers each year. The Grammy and Emmy Awards had around 20 million views every year. And while the Golden Globes weren't picked up by NBC until 1996, they typically averaged around 15 to 20 million viewers. That started to drop dramatically in the past decade, with each of the shows in 2021 getting a fraction of the viewers they once had. These drops in viewership have led to many decisions to revamp award shows to garner more viewers and boost ratings. The Academy Awards is probably the most notorious for its controversial changes, and to better explain, let's watch this clip from last year's Oscars.
Okay, stop. That's not fair to Glenn Close. She don't know nothing about doing it.
Wait a second. I know that's da butt.
And it's hard for me to believe that Glenn Close actually listens to go-go music. I mean, maybe there's something about it I don't know, but that felt a little contrived.
It's good that you felt that. Your instincts are right. I was one of the people fooled, unfortunately, but that was one of the most viral moments from the 2021 Academy Awards. I thought it was hilarious. It sparked a lot of fun attention on Twitter. And you were right. In a heartbreaking turn of events, we all learned it was scripted and, almost designed to go viral.
So the Academy will give Glenn Close the answers to trivia questions, and you won't? I'm always down for a game. Absolutely no idea. If I couldn't answer the last one, there's no way I'm being able to answer this one. Is this Kesha?
No.
I'm at a loss here. I've done so poorly.
The Glenn Close debut gag and others like it shows producers are trying to make the show more entertaining. But for longtime award show watchers like myself, it can get a little frustrating.
It always feels like the Oscars are chasing an audience that they're not going to get.
In the past, those were reserved for the opening number. It was always really flashy, but now it's just constant bits and constant trying to, hit those viral moments.
All this stuff that they're trying to do, it takes away from what I think are the most wonderful moments of the Oscars, which are these acceptance speeches.
And it doesn't stop there. The Oscars also tried this year to award fan favorite films chosen by people on Twitter.
I know that never goes well when you're relying on Twitter feedback.
It didn't. It was another thing that people made fun of this year because they weren't serious answers. And they took time away from actual winners. But the decision was made because for years, critics have blamed lower viewerships on the idea that nominees aren't well known or popular. In 2017, a survey found that only 5% of respondents actually watched The Handmaid's Tale, which won that year's Emmy for Best Drama. And this year, the combined global box office gross of all 10 of the Oscars Best Picture nominees was just $642.9 million. To put that number in perspective, that's less than what each of the top 6 movies of 2021 made individually. Spider-Man: No Way Home, the top grossing movie of the year, made over $1.8 billion worldwide.
Then who are those films for?
Funny you should ask. While there are a few massive box office hits in Titanic, Forrest Gump, and Lord of the Rings: Return of the King, the Oscars Best Picture winners since 1980 averaged $291.8 million at the global box office. That's pretty low. And for the most part, it shows that Oscar winners have never really been chosen based on their popularity with mainstream audiences.
They do introduce you to those kind of more like low budget films and more independent films, things like that don't get the same marketing.
These award shows allow these people to gain national and global recognition.
Parasite went back to theaters after it won Best Picture in 2020, and it made $8.8 million more at the box office in North America.
Yeah, I'm thinking about, what movies some of these award winners have really done for me, and I think the first one that comes to mind is Moonlight. It really kind of put a few people on the map for me. I mean, Mahershala Ali, Ashton Sanders, Trevante Rhodes, Nicholas Britell. I mean, that seems like the real value right there,
Absolutely. And for me, Moonlight was one of those films where I didn't think to go and watch it until it won so many awards and people started talking about how amazing it was. All of that shows award shows still have a purpose, as well as a dedicated audience that does genuinely want to tune in. And so the larger issue of the loss of general audiences may be more tied to something bigger in the TV world: major shifts in viewership behavior.
Because it's a Sunday night, people have to work, and it's like going into 10 o'clock, 10:30, like people are tired.
People are like, I don't have to sit through a 3-hour or 3.5-hour ceremony to see what's going to happen. I could just go on YouTube and watch it.
Beyond award shows, viewerships for primetime shows on the major networks have shrunk by 30 to 70%, depending on the day and time slot. In sports, this year's Winter Olympics ended with the smallest audience ever. And when it comes to live news, a Pew Research study from last year found that 70% of US Twitter news consumers use the platform to follow live news events. The Grammy Awards is a great example of that, as #Grammys was the #1 Twitter trend in the US for 15 straight hours, garnering more than 43 million tweets. It shows that fans were watching and following along, just not in a way that translated directly to views or ratings.
To empathize a little bit with these people, I mean, there are millions of people on social media. So obviously you need to filter, you need to sort through, what actually is a genuine piece of feedback and what is just all the white noise. But I do think that the internal teams, whoever are making these decisions, should probably connect more to what it is that the people are wanting and needing to see.
And something similar happened last year when this live backstage video from the K-pop idol group BTS got more views on social media than the actual televised Grammy ceremony.
I'm taken aback that it was that clip that got more views than the actual award ceremony. I mean, that's kind of wild.
BTS didn't even win that year, so The Army was mad. All of this is heavily impacted by the rise of streaming and social media, which allows audiences to watch award shows, primetime programs, and sports highlights, on their own time. So as much as award shows can try to change their program to cater to these new audiences, they have to first figure out how to actually reach them.
Until then, I'm probably going to be one of those folks who's always looking for the clips on social rather than actually watching the day of. Casey, I always love these deep dives that we get a chance to go on. I appreciate you so much for joining us on ITL. Let's do this again sometime. What do you say?